Hi.
Is that
Yeah.
better?
Oh,
Hi,
Oh,
now,
there we
Marcus.
go. Yeah, it was.
How's it
perfect.
going?
Yeah, it's great.
Great.
How are you
Awesome.
guys?
Well,
Nice to
sorry.
meet you, man.
Thank you so much. I was quite confused with the time of all of you in Europe. Sorry, because I was checking at 5. It was not 5. It is 6 right now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But it was all right. It was a good thing you wrote like in 3.5 hours, and I could figure that out myself. So
Okay.
that's
You
all right.
understand. Good. You understood that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
You know, all this day we start. I mean, me start to hear a lot of your music. It's quite fun, man. I love it. I love some thrash, old school songs, some puppet
Yeah.
song. I saw the video. So funny, so brutal and funny at the same time. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel great actually. So really, I mean, we're releasing a live album in like 2 days right now, so it
Yeah.
feels absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sock puppet video, that was, man, that was the first one I think we did a little bit more, put some effort into it. But that was the old lineup, you know, we were a
Yeah.
five-piece back then, and
Yeah.
yeah.
How's it working the new lineup? With the drummer is the last
Well,
one.
it's been like the lineup since wow, when I think it's 2012 actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
So
been a while.
good. So this
Not new.
this lineup is the same lineup that you recorded that album, isn't it?
Which album?
The live one.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the lineup we have today. Actually, Simon is not in the band. We're kind of a three-piece at the moment.
Okay.
So the blonde guitarist,
Yeah.
he's left since then. So, but other than that, it's the same lineup. So.
Okay. Are you looking for another one to replace him?
We were in the beginning, but it was really tough actually to find a guitarist in Stockholm, even though it's like tons of bands here and a lot of people playing in bands, and yeah, a lot of guitarists as well. But it's kind of tricky music, you know. It's you have to be able to play all those tricky parts, and you kind of need to also take it fairly easy. You can't be like a hard head or whatever. You have to be kind of an easy guy to hang out with. And I don't think we searched for like a year, and then we finally said that okay, let's try this lineup like a three-piece band, like a trio. And I think we only did a couple of those shows, but that worked out really well. Of course, you kind of miss out on the rhythm guitar a bit. So I had to, for the bass guitar, basically, I had to put up a lot of distortion on it, and I had to like change a little bit how I was playing, especially when the guitarists are doing leads and stuff like that. So it's a challenge, and I think we rearranged a few of the songs a little bit to fit better.
Yeah.
But we haven't been playing live, man, in a long time. So I mean, we're not particularly active with playing live right now. I mean, the live album was recorded in 2015, and it's been waiting ever since. So
why so many years?
Actually, that's a pretty interesting story because I mean, during the time, I mean, the live album is a recording of the release show for the album New Level of Malevolence.
Yeah.
And that was released like in May 2015. And by that time, I think we had 4 or 5 tours already booked. So there were 2 European tours. There was like a separate trip to Italy, and I think another in Germany and stuff like that. But by the time we released the album, all those tours were canceled. All those tours just disappeared for different reasons. I mean, either the tour was canceled or we were replaced. There was something that messed up the whole situation. So we were like, we just released a new album and we couldn't play live because all the tours were canceled. We didn't get the festival shows because the tours were canceled. So that's why I mean, it took some time, and we did that release show like in October So that's, I mean, quite a few months after the release of the album. And the idea was basically, we need to film a show because we've been touring a lot before that, and with the previous album, and we felt like, man, we really need good footage, because all we had was people standing in the crowd, you know, with a cell phone and filming the show. And since we lost all those shows, the idea was basically, let's film one show and put it out there so we can promote ourselves a little bit better and try to get back on track with the live shows and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we did the whole thing, and we sort of noticed that the footage and the sound and everything was just great. So we didn't want to throw it out there because we didn't intend to release a live album, actually. So it was more a situation like, man, this is really good material. If we throw this out right now, we're going to be throwing all the stuff away. So we needed everything cut professionally and, you know, have it mixed and all that stuff. And that stuff takes time. And also I have to say that I think it was about a year after the release of a New Level of Malevolence, I was asked to join the band Shining.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of time from me to go out touring in the States and stuff like that. So I think it just people had other things to do as well. And it mostly depends on the time I have to put into the band. And since that time was removed and I was out playing with another band, sort of just unfortunately, I have to say, it sort of just didn't happen that much in quite a while. So
Yeah.
it's a situation when since I'm doing most of the stuff, it can be a little bit stressful, man. I was broken down by the end of that period, because it was like, I did all these videos, we record the music ourselves and all that shit, and everything just dropped. And it felt like we need to get back on track. And that didn't happen either, because we released, a video at the same time as this show was recorded. And that video got banned on Facebook and different, web stores like to post videos sometimes. And they didn't even want to post it because there's some gore involved in it. So yet again, it was just a situation where it feels like the industry and everything around you is kind of working against you all the time. And I think we had worked for almost 6 years quite intensively to get somewhere. And at that point, it felt like, man, we need kind of a break, I think. So yeah, might be a stupid situation to have a break at that point in time, but that's what happened actually. So
good. And now you're thinking or writing about a new album, because that was the last album of the band.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we never really stopped writing music. That's why we put out that we did a Christmas EP. And that the idea with that was the same thing with the live album. It was basically, we can't have inactivity. So we put that out.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a fun idea. We actually gave the album away once a year, so during December, so that people could download it for free. But shortly after that, we were back in the rehearsal space writing a lot of material. And at this point, the next album the pre-production is all finished. And so we basically need to go into the studio. I think we're looking to do that in August to record the drums, at least. We'll see what happens. We got some logistical problems where to actually do this. And also we don't really have a good deal for the album. At this point, we kind of have to record it ourselves. And we're talking with some partners, but it hasn't really ended up anywhere fruitful right now with financing the recording of it. So looks like we'll be recording the album, the drums for it, in August, and then we'll be recording over a longer period this time, because the guitarist, he actually leaves to educate himself within filmmaking and writing scripts and stuff like that. So he will be quite far away, but we'll make sure to record our stuff. But I mean, the album is finished, written, and it's we did a really decent pre-production. Actually recorded 3 songs as a demo, and those demos are almost good enough to be released as on an album, actually. So
wow. So maybe
To me,
we're
it
gonna
sounds
get
like
another full-length album this year, hopefully.
no, it takes too much time, I would say. So this year, I think the plan was to release it. I mean, if we looked at a couple of years ago, we thought we might get the album out by now. But man, I mean, it's the drums are going to be recorded, and then after that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it took a year to actually record it at this point, due to the logistical issues and stuff like that. So that's why it feels really good to put a decent live album out there, and so there's some really good activity going on.
Good.
To me, it sounds like you have lots of energy. You have loads of energy. You're pushing forward continuously. I mean, it's not a surprise that you need a break every now and then.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, the energy is just. Are you thinking about the live shows or?
No, everything completely. I mean, to be honest, I just have heard recently about you, and I checked out your music, your videos, your albums, and it's awesome stuff. It's very high quality. I love your style. And when you talk, like you have so many projects in mind, and you always seem to try to push forward as much as you can. So yeah. I mean, we rarely hear that, actually.
Yeah, I think it started off actually when we did the lineup change, when we became a 4-piece, and I took over the vocal duties as well. That's when we sort of felt like, man, we need to do something decent with this. And by the same time, we actually worked with a promoter in Germany for quite some time. And by that time, we started. I mean, I always work myself with like a 2-year plan, for instance, where I see, okay, there's an album at the end here. We need to have 2 or 3 videos, and we need to have this kind of activity. But on the other hand, it takes up a lot of energy of when you're supposed to basically play music and write music. So that's why it takes some time sometimes to put out an album, because you have to promote yourself, you have to do all the videos, and actually the video stuff, that's just fun, actually. So that's kind of part of it.
I love your videos, man. I love them.
I mean, the sock puppet one, that was the first one that was really crazy, but it really started to set us on a path with all those wacky videos, and I love it too. And my favorite would actually be, I know a lot of people likes the Absolutely Do Not Die, when we're like crows running around in Stockholm and just misbehaving, or really wants to have the bird seeds, you know.
Right, I just saw that one. It was really awesome. How does a black metal scene react to your stuff, to your videos, to the humorous approach?
Yeah, I mean, that's the weird part, because that's why we call our stuff Metal Deluxe. That was like a stupid idea, because it was like, man, where are we actually in terms of style of music? I mean, we're kind of thrash metal a lot, and it's old school, but it's not really, I mean, we're not really repeating something somebody did before, but on the other hand, we're not reinventing and doing something completely new. And then there are actually some black metal influences, and there are some death metal, and I mean, I'm a hard rock heavy metal guy. That's what I grew up with and still listen to. So there's a lot of heavy metal, and so we figured out, like, this mishmash and all these things, let's just call it Metal Deluxe, because it's like a perfect representation of just metal. And when it comes to the black metal genre that you asked about, I think a lot of people kind of just didn't care about us at all, because I mean, the black metal, and since I meet a lot of black metal people when I'm playing with Shining, is sort of, you notice that these people might be a little bit narrow-minded when it comes to things. They want things to be orthodox. They want things to be a certain way. If it's outside of that box, they get a little bit like, they don't want to be involved with it that much. And in fact, when we did a tour, I'm a little bit sketchy with the years here. I think that was 2013. Yeah, we toured with Vader and Malakesh early that year, and later on with Shining, and that's kind of how we got to know them. And when that tour was suggested, there was a lot of people who was like, "This is such a weird match, you know, Shining and STERBHAUS,
Right.
completely different."
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And the fun thing is, it worked out so well, and even the crowd and everyone, just as soon as they got to see us live, there was no problem about it, because I think it was more about the passion, you know. If you're doing it for real and everybody loves metal in the end, I mean, it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. When you're sitting like me, you know, like 15,000 kilometers from there, it's quite strange to get together, you know, your music from both bands, you know, it's like at the same time, you know, the same gig. It's strange, but it worked.
Yeah, but it worked. I mean, it was both. I mean, socially, it really worked. That was one of the better tours I've ever done, and I know they felt the same way. And each evening, actually, the same thing. There was another black metal band. Wow, what were they called? Man, I don't remember now. It was a Norwegian band. Anyway, and I think the fit of STERBHAUS and Shining was perfect live, because I don't know why, it just seemed to speak to people. I mean, if you're a support band, you kind of have a responsibility also to get the crowd going, because I mean, the main band will always love you, of course, if the crowd is all rounded up when it's time for them to go on. And if the support bands have been doing a lot of great gigs and the crowd is all fired up, then they're happy. And I think that was the situation. So, I mean, it just comes to show that you can't really expect anything, I suppose. All the expectations go out the window, and it's, yeah.
For me, it's always interesting to see, because I'm mostly into black metal, I think. And I love the humorous style, but obviously I crash with the black metal scene every now and then when some fun element comes in, or some weird element. Like, I don't know if you know them, I sent the link later. Mora Bogasa is like one of these Polish black metal bands who do some weird shit, some super weird shit, and they get attacked from the black metal scene. And for me, it's just fun. You know, this extreme humor is like the logical consequence of dark metal humor, I think. Like, and I love it.
Yeah, it is weird kind of humor as well. I mean, it's a dark wit, and I mean, it seems to work well sometimes. I mean, do you remember Snowy Shaw in Sweden, for instance? He used to have this black metal thing called Notre Dame, for instance. By this time he had that, I had my one-man project called Elvira Madigan. So we sort of, I wouldn't say we got to know each other, but we were totally aware of each other's stuff, and had some sort of contact with it. It turned out he liked my stuff as well. And I loved the Notre Dame stuff, because that was also humor, and there was a lot of black metal in that. It's his kooky way of doing things, of course. But I mean, if you do it tongue in cheek, and people realize that it's not all super serious. We don't all eat children for breakfast. It's just a gimmick.
it just was in the beginning, you know. It's like 5 years.
Everybody thought Venom was doing it, but they were basically just drinking beer and having a good time. It sounded like crap, and that was the product.
Right. Do you have any expectations when you're getting on stage in front of a crowd? Like, do you have any expectation? Can you expect what's happening, or it's a surprise each time?
I think it's a surprise each time, actually, especially when you're going as a support act, and most people in the crowd don't even know about you. So you're in a position where you have to introduce yourself and convince everybody that, man, we're actually a really good band. And but we rehearsed a lot. I mean, we rehearsed 3 times a week for years, and we really worked on our live shows. There was no real room for anyone to doubt, and that was the idea. You know, we wanted to go out there and build up, so people would first, I mean, on the first song they would be like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool, and the second one would be, oh, this is actually really, really good, and by the third song they should be like, man, I fucking love this band. And that was basically the idea. And usually it worked, because by the third or fourth song, we got the crowd going by that point. So, I mean, it's thankful when it comes to thrash metal. I think if you have all these thrash and heavy metal influences, it's good for live music, because it drives people on, you know. I love, I kind of love black metal, but I'm kind of sick of it at the same time. But the problem with black metal, for instance, sometimes it could be absolutely awesome on album, but when you hear it live, it can sometimes be a little bit boring if the band is not doing something extraordinary. And I think it's thankful with stuff that is thrash metal driven, because it's more entices people to basically go crazy.
It's the best for the pit, obviously. Thrash. I've never seen a black metal pit, but yeah, thrash pits definitely.
Hey, Mike, I think this is a band that we can really enjoy to go to the mosh pit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost like extreme metal party music, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we used to bring the humor on stage as well. We had this, I don't know if you saw the video. There was it's from the first album where I'm doing the vocals, which is called Angels for Breakfast and God for Lunch. There was a song there called Frog Boiler. And,
I just saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and the video was a little, I mean, I'm not really happy about how things ended, because the climax was actually supposed to be this goat guitar, which was kind of alive, but it was obvious a puppet. But that guitar is totally playable. So we actually did play it sometimes. We brought it live, and Jimmy had to play it on it. It's a horrible instrument to play on, because it's, I mean, huge and hairy and shit. And it's got a mouth in the end, you know, and people really liked it. I think we got suggestions of bringing sock puppets live too, but I don't think, no, we didn't do that.
Where do you get your ideas from, actually?
I would say it stems from the fact that we kind of, it sounds kooky, but if you have a good chemistry and you really kind of like hanging out, and we're a bunch of guys who likes to party, likes to drink, and likes to basically have a laugh about most things, and so you get your inspiration from everyday jokes or whatever. And I have to say that a lot of things that come out like inspiration for me at the time, especially when I was writing these lyrics, I mean, that was Family Guy and American Dad and Futurama and Simpsons and stuff like that. Stupid comedy. That's actually, I think we stole a few lines from a few of those shows as well. So I think Tell Them I Hate Them is completely stolen from Futurama. And yeah, I think it's a line also in Necrostabbing the Corpse Finder that's completely just ripped off from what Roger says in American Dad. Didn't you hear the puppets? Demons are coming to rape our skulls. And I just nicked it. It's a perfect line. I was like, man, I'm keeping that one.
Awesome. And I think if you don't take yourself so serious, it's easier to produce, actually, to let's say to produce output. I think if you take yourself too serious, you know, like there's some bands who review and rewrite and change the lyrics and set it all right, I think you block yourself to a certain degree. If you don't take yourself so serious, you can just let it out, I think, no?
Yeah, exactly. I think so. I mean, the alternative would be, if you really want to do something extraordinarily serious and lowbrow or whatever, then you have to basically have a complete vision of exactly what you want to do for 10 years or something like that, to sell that vision. I think for us, it was, like I mentioned, a lot about the chemistry, but a lot about the fact that we rehearsed 3 times a week because we loved playing, we loved hanging out. And after the rehearsal, if it was weekends, we went out drinking together. And if you keep it that casual and you just enjoy playing, then at that point, if you start writing material, it comes so much easier, and you don't have to force anything, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're preparing any tour what are you thinking about that? What is the situation there in Scandinavia?
No, the situation, if you think about STERBHAUS playing tours or stuff like that, we kind of, to be completely honest, what was that? Was that, man, it's almost 2 years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
We went out and said that we're putting the band to death because of all the inactivity, because we were involved in other things. And that started this whole train about me looking at what kind of material is unreleased. And I said, well, if we're going to quit the band, we need to put out the last album because that needs to be recorded. But then it was obvious that, I mean, we hadn't released the EP, the Christmas EP physically, and we had all this footage for the whole show, and I wanted to put that out. So it ended up me being very busy with STERBHAUS stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But I found it more fun this time, and it was like, oh, more laid back, and I could, I mean, there was a little bit more interest in the live album, I'd say, than when we released New Level of Malevolence. Yeah. Even though that spawned some interest, it seems that the live album is really something that people really want to check out. And so that's more fun if you're looking at a perspective of what might happen in the future. Then I can't really actually say much at this point. We have no tours planned, definitely not. And I think it comes down a little bit to what is on offer, basically. If someone offers us something that might be interesting, we would definitely consider it, and we might talk about it. But doing this kind of music, and as you can hear on the live album, it takes so much time rehearsing. So we need to be able to find the time to do the material justice. If we go up on stage, it has to be good again.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't been rehearsing for years now. So, I mean, if we get any decent offers for festivals, for instance, we'd consider it. But to be completely honest, I mean, before we kind of quit, we were paying a lot to play. That's a lot how the business looks. I mean, if you get 200 or 300 euros playing a festival in Germany, if you look at the costs of actually traveling back and forth, you have to do quite a few of those shows on one trip in order to even break even. And we were in a situation, we were paying all the time to play. And it becomes draining eventually when you feel like you're investing all the time, you're not getting too much out of it. And I don't think we'll be putting ourselves in that situation again, to be complete. I mean, if we get a decent offer and it's doable for us, we'd consider it. But as it looks like right now, no shows are scheduled.
Okay. And you missed to play live?
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I joined Shining, I mean, first of all, I wasn't really asked to join the band. It was more of a situation like, can you fill the spots for all the tours and shows that we have booked, and we need a bass player? And I say, yeah, I do it because I love playing live. So the reason to accept it was, I mean, I knew some of the guys and I felt like I get along with them, and I definitely want to play more live. And we were in that situation where STERBHAUS wasn't playing live at all. I mean, the band really wanted to play live, but no one was booking us for whatever reason. And so when I got that offer, that was mainly because I really wanted to play live, and I really miss it. And it's completely different playing just bass for a band that's someone else's band. Basically, I'm playing someone else's material. And I really miss going out with STERBHAUS, doing our stuff, doing, singing the lyrics I wrote and all that shit. And I mean, that's a completely different thing, because you're bonding with the crowd in a completely different way at that point, because you're presenting yourself more, I'd say.
Yeah, because you're involved in the whole process, isn't it? I mean, music, writing lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. I've been I suppose I've been managing the band and doing mostly producing everything that we've been doing. And that is actually one of the reasons also that we decided sort of to put the band to death, because I wanted the other people to be more involved in it, but for whatever reason they found it hard to do this, and it becomes difficult with the do-it-yourself situation, that you're supposed to be involved with your band. I mean, you're supposed to do everything. In the past, there were labels who handled promotions and all that stuff. Now a band has to do a lot of that themselves, which is kind of why I wrote you guys in the first place. I was thinking about, man, I'm going to check out if these guys want to have a chat or want a review or something like that. And I found that it's actually more fun for me as well. I mean, you get a more personal contact. Otherwise, you pay a promoter and they're supposed to hook you up with all these people, and there's no guarantee whatsoever. So for us, we ended up paying a lot of promoters money, didn't really get anything out of it except a few reviews. And I mean, what I wanted was this kind of chat. So I mean,
awesome.
Yeah,
we love the style, you know. We have a very open style to talk to people, because we want to discover the person behind as well, you know. Black metal people are usually very interesting people with lots of story, lots of history, and so on. And we love to keep it open and to get really to know the bands and the people.
Yeah. All right.
And how different is for you to play in your band in STERBHAUS and from Shining? Because I saw Shining once, I think, Mike, in Metal Days. Could it be possible?
Okay. Was that with me playing or?
Yeah, like 4 years ago or something like that.
Okay. It's quite different. The reason why it's fun music to play, because it's very bass driven, it's very groove driven, and for STERBHAUS it's more about nailing difficult things sometimes. And I have to be able to sing while I'm playing, so you have a lot of shit going on in your mind. So from that point of view, it's kind of nice to start playing in Shining, because I could relax more and just focus on the groove and all that. But like I said, I really miss doing your own material, because I mean, you connect more to what you're doing if you're playing what you wrote, basically, and what you're rehearsing and all that stuff. So in Shining really doesn't rehearse. We basically know what we're going to be playing, and it's each member's responsibility to know their part. And it's been, I mean, it's a lot of members even since I joined, and I'm fairly new in the band, and that puts a lot of pressure on, especially with a bass, where you have to tie all the instruments together. You know, you have to focus on the groove that a drummer is supposed to have, and you also need to listen to what the guitarist is doing, so that you tie that stuff together. And sometimes it's been quite straining, actually. It feels like it's a lot of work to get it through a gig and make it sound really good. As for STERBHAUS, I think in the end, I have to admit that we were a better live band, definitely. And I was arguing actually that within the Shining Cap a few times, just to get things more tied together. But no, there's definitely difference. I mean, the music is different, and the approach of the instruments and all that stuff. But also, it's quite natural for STERBHAUS to show that you're having fun on stage, and that you're doing it with a smile, and you can throw in a couple of jokes here and there. That's not always appropriate in a band like Shining, who focus on something completely different. So you have to be more introverted at times, basically, to look at the mood of the songs.
So one of these days, we're going to have the opportunity to see you here in South America.
With the STERBHAUS?
Yep.
Yeah, actually we did it we played in Chile in 2000. Wow, again with the years, 12 or 13. Yeah. Yeah, but it was sort of a tour that we did together with the friends. So but we did like 5 shows in Chile, and there was supposed to be a follow-up to that the year after, and that was supposed to include more countries in South America, but that was also sort of dropped for whatever reason. And when it comes to STERBHAUS, it's the same thing. I know if we get approached by someone who wants to bring us over there, and if the offer is good, we'll consider it.
Yeah.
We won't be saying like completely no. But then I know, I mean, there are different challenges to different parts of the world, and there are certain challenges in South America that needs to be met, of course, and so that we feel safe and everything is well organized. We heard a lot of nightmare stories of certain bands, and some bands have had an absolutely perfect time. So it all comes together with who you're working with. And I know that for a fact when it comes to Europe and America, North America as well. I mean, it's things can fuck up in different ways. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we have the idea to pick you and play here. I'm in the other side of Chile. I'm in Argentina, and we used to got some bands here, like at the Gates and Blaze Bailey and Almost Abbath. Remember that?
Oh, okay.
Almost.
Yeah, he had to like cancel his tour, wasn't that?
Okay, that was my festival. Those
Oh, it was. Oh. Okay. But
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure you hate it, but it was probably a good idea for him to get his shit together.
Well, I'm not that upset anymore. You know, it's like 2 years ago. So okay, I want to start again. I need to make festivals and music, live music, and I love that. So yeah, maybe next summer, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. Whenever we can again. I mean, the question is if it really goes back to normal now, the world, or if the mess continues. Like nobody can tell that, I think. What do you think, Marcus?
I mean, it seems to be opening up a lot in at least in Europe and Scandinavia for the autumn. So I think by the next year, I mean, if everyone gets vaccinated, basically, I think it will probably be able to turn back to normal. But it's also a little bit fun to see what has happened during the whole lockdown with shows and everything, because it seems that people and festivals book even earlier now instead. So you get like a situation where people are booking tours for 1.5 years in the future. So I mean, and that's what you have to work with. And if you want to start touring, then you have to know what you're doing in 1.5 and 2 years, and that's pretty difficult sometimes. It's hard to commit to something that happens in 2 years. But I mean, I think it's probably we'll just have to see what happens. I think. I mean, if people start getting vaccinated and everyone gets secure in opening up again, then hopefully next summer should be fairly normal.
Right.
Hopefully, yeah. So
you did get your vaccinations?
Yeah, I'm getting my second shot, I think next week actually, and then I should be fully vaccinated. So
yeah,
I'm old as fuck, you know. That's why. So I'm in the age bracket where quite old people get vaccinated earlier.
Which one did you get?
What?
Which one did you get?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't ask. Actually, I thought
really, seriously?
Yeah, I was like, just give me the shot. We'll see what happens. Now I know some people are like they want to wait with the shot. I mean, I think the whole thing, just get the shot. Basically, I mean, we're getting vaccinated we eliminated so many diseases because of vaccinations, and you start taking things for granted, and with the whole craze about people thinking about not vaccinating, if they don't vaccinate, then we can never open up again, and we'll be stuck in this mess because there will be some new version of corona, and then people are not vaccinated for that for the first time, and man, it will be a mess. No, I got the first. I think my arm hurts. I had a good night's sleep after that, but apart from that, it was okay.
Okay. I got it yesterday, so it's quite hard.
Okay. Right? Did you
Yeah,
get
it's
like
very
a fever
interesting.
or anything?
Just the first one yesterday.
Did you get like a fever?
Oh, just a little bit. No, nothing serious, really. Just it hurts a little bit my arm, but that's all.
Yeah.
The worst thing were yesterday. Well, I'm in Argentina, so last night were like football match, and we used to have like barbecue and beers and wines, and no beer, no wines. That's the worst.
Not even by yourself.
I must to wait. And
you're not allowed to get drunk by yourself.
Yeah, but just seeing all the people, it's like
yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Next one, maybe. So we're gonna see you in a couple of days. That's it.
Yeah, you're thinking about the live stream, or?
Of course.
Yeah. That's I'm working a lot with it because I've never streamed live my whole life.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been cutting this whole show myself also because the whole production with the live show has been something I've been working with for a couple of years. And we thought, I mean, like I said, it wasn't really intended to be a live album, but when we heard how things sounded and we saw the footage once it was edited, I felt like, man, we need to release it like an album. And we even thought about releasing it on a DVD and on Blu-ray and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think we backed out on that because it wasn't financially viable. Again, with the finances, it's all about money in the end. It sucks of it.
Business.
But still, you have to look at, I mean, how many people are going to buy this? So we thought about more like we should go back to thinking of it as a promotion tool, like a promotion tool. And once I got all the stuff for the album ready to go and it went into production, all that stuff, I started thinking about what to do with it, with the whole show, because I mean, it would be stupid to put it out in its entirety just right now and everyone can watch it. We might release it later on, of course, so you can watch the whole show from beginning to end, but it feels like a far cooler thing to do an event that we'll actually, like, we watch the whole show together with the people out there who want to watch it at the same time, and we're streaming it. And after the show, after we streamed it, we won't be having it viewable online anymore. So, and we'll be having like a private barbecue party here. So I just moved houses actually, so I got this sweet place where we can have some barbecue and get wasted, and we'll be watching the whole show from beginning to end and stream the whole thing. And yeah,
cool.
Hopefully a lot of people will check it out together with us and get wasted as well.
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Perfect. I'll be connect. I'm gonna watch it.
What?
I'll be connect in a couple of days. I'm gonna watch it.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
So I'll be with you.
Yeah, it'll be. We'll be. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I suppose in Central European time. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna check the time now. In a couple of days.
Okay.
I'm gonna check better.
Yeah, that's like in the middle of night for you.
I'll be alone, just waiting for the people.
Drinking beer and wine, and hopefully it's a football game, right?
Yeah, for sure. No football, just music and beer. Yeah, for sure. Okay, Mike.
Perfect. Thank you, Marcus. It was awesome talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marcus, for your time.
Yeah. Thanks.
See you in a couple of days. Here's with your project.
See you in a few days then.
Yeah. See you guys.
All right. Bye.